calculator. Okay, perfect. Okay, lesson 3-4, solving linear equations. Danny took some rope with him on his camping trip. He used 32 feet of rope to tie his canoe to a log on the shore. The next night, he used half of the remaining rope to secure his tent during a thunderstorm. On the last day, he used 7 feet as a fish stringer to keep the fish that he caught. After the canoeing trip, he had 9 feet left. How much rope did he have at the beginning of the camping trip? Start at the end of the problem and undo each step. He used 32 feet to tie his canoe. 32 plus 32, 64. So he had 9 feet left, 9. He used 7 feet as a fish stringer. 9 plus 7, 16. He used half of the remaining rope to secure his tent. 16 times 2, 32. He used 32 feet to tie his canoe. 32 plus 32, 64. He had 64 feet of rope. Check the answer in the context of the problem. Does it make sense that he had 64 feet? Yep. If he had 64 feet, he used 32 to tie his canoe. The next night, he used half of the remaining rope. So if we're saying he had 64 minus 32 equals 32. So he had 32 feet of rope. He used half of the remaining rope to secure his tent during the thunderstorm. 32 divided by 32 is 16. 16 left. On the last day, he used 7 feet as a fish stringer. Minus 7 is 9. After the camping trip, he had 9 feet left. That's correct. He had 64 feet of rope. Olivia went to the mall to spend some of her monthly allowance. She put $10 away so it could be deposited in the savings account at a later date. The first thing she bought was a CD for $15.99. The next stop was to buy hand lotion and a candle, which set her back $9.59. For lunch, she spent half of the remaining cash. She went to the arcade room and spent $5 and took home $121. How much was Olivia's monthly allowance? $48. We can work backwards. She went to the arcade and spent $5 and took home $1.21. So 121 plus 5. 621. Half of the remaining cash. So just like in the last problem, half of the remaining multiplied by 2. 621 times 2 is 1242. She bought a candle and lotion for $9.59. So we have 1242 plus $9.59 and the CD for $15.99. Altogether, $48. Solve 5q minus 13 equals 37. Then check your solution. The original equation is right here. Just like we learned before, add 13 to both sides. That gives us 5q equals 50. Divide each side by 5. Q equals 10. To check, substitute 10 for q in the original equation. If we put 10 right here, we have 5 times 10 minus 13. 5 times 10 is 50. Minus 13 is 37. Very good. Solve 4a minus 42 equals 14. The first thing we do is add 42 to both sides. Minus 42 equals 14. So we want to get the a on its own. So add 42 to both sides. 4a equals 42 plus 14, 56. Divide each side by 4. 4a divided by 4 is a. 56 divided by 4 is 14. So we have a equals 14. Solve s divided by 12 plus 9 equals negative 11. Then check your solution. S divided by 12 plus 9 equals negative 11, original equation. Subtract 9 from both sides. That gives us s over 12 equals negative 20. Now multiply each side by 12. 12, 12. These two cancel out. 12 times negative 20 is negative 240. To check, substitute negative 240 for s in the original equation. We had s over 12 minus 9 equals Kirk! Kirk! Kirk? I got kicked out of the filming, and I don't know where Kirk went. Yeah, can you just call Kirk and tell him that I need him? Thank you. check, substitute negative 240 for s in the original equation. The original equation was s over 12 plus 9 equals negative 11. If we add in negative 240 for s, we have negative 240 over 12 plus 9. Now, negative 240 divided by 12 is negative 20, plus 9 is negative 11. Negative 11. So we know the answer was correct. Solve 4 plus a over 11 equals 37. All we do is the first thing, subtract 4 from each side. So a over 11 equals 37 minus 4. When we subtract 4 from this side, this cancels out. Then we also have to subtract 4 from the other side. 37 minus 4 is 33. A over 11. The next thing we do is multiply each side by 11. So we can cancel that out. 33 times 11 is 363. A equals 363. Kirk? There's someone in front of the house trying to get my attention. Okay. I don't know. He's looking at me. And he looks very angry at me. Okay. So A equals 363. R minus 8 over negative 3 equals 2. Multiply each side by negative 3. That cancels out that negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. R minus 8 plus 8 equals 6 plus 8. R equals 14. Write an equation for the problem below, then solve the equation. 8 more than 5 times a number is negative 62. 8 more than is plus 5 times a number n is equals negative 62. The original equation is 5n plus 8 equals negative 62. Subtract 8 from both sides. 5n equals negative 70. Divide each side by 5. And n is negative 14. Either divide by 5 or multiply by 1 over 5. That cancels that 5 out, and then that is negative 70 divided by 5. Negative 14. 3/4 of 7 subtracted from a number is negative 15. What is the number? 3/4 of 7 subtracted from a number is negative 15. 3/4 of means times 7 subtracted from a number, the number minus 3/4 of 7, is negative 15. 3 over 4 times 7. Remember when we multiply fractions? That's what it becomes. So it is n minus 21 over 4 equals negative 15. N minus 21 is 4 over negative 15. We need to add 21 over 4 to each side. So negative 15 plus 21 over 4. 15 plus 21 over 4. Multiply that by 4. Multiply the top by 4. 15 times 4 is 60. So we have negative 60 over 4 plus 21 over 4. Negative 60 plus 21 over 4. Then equals negative 39. 3/4 of 7. Three-fourths times 7. Negative 13 minus clear. 3/4 of 7. 3/4 of 7. 7 subtracted from a number is negative 15. There we go. The first thing we do is we need to move this 3 over 4 to the other side. So we multiply it by 4 over 3. That cancels out. Multiply this side by 4 over 3 over 1. 15 times 4, negative 60 over 3 equals n minus 7. Negative 60 over 3 is negative 20. N minus 7. Add 7 to both sides. Plus 7. Plus 7. N equals negative 13. There's the answer. N equals negative 13. Write an equation for the problem below, then solve the equation and answer the problem. Find 3 consecutive odd integers whose sum is 57. Let n, the least odd integer. Let n plus 2 be the next greater odd integer. Let n plus 4 be the greatest of the 3 odd integers. The sum of 3 consecutive odd integers is n plus 2 plus n plus 4 is 57. N plus 2 plus n plus 4 equals 57. 3n plus 6 equals 57. Subtract n from both sides. 3n is 51. Divide 3 by both sides. N is 17. So, the consecutive odd integers, n is 17. The consecutive odd integers are 17, 19, and 21. N plus 2, 17 plus 2, 19. N plus 4, 17 plus 4, 21. Find 3 consecutive even integers whose sum is 84. Well, n plus 2 plus n plus 4 equals 84. We use the same as before, only this time we let n be the least even integer. 3n plus 6 equals 84. 84 minus 6, 78. Divide each side by 3. N equals 26. So we know the first even integer is 26. Now we have 26 plus 2, 28. 26 plus 4, 30. That is the end of lesson 3-4. Chapter 3-5. Solve 8 plus 5s equals 7s minus 2. The first thing we do, subtract 7s from both sides. That gives us 8 minus 2s equals negative 2. 8 minus 2s minus 8 equals negative 2 minus 8. Negative 2s equals negative 10. We divide negative 2 by each side to leave s by itself. S equals 5. To check your answer, substitute 5 for s in the original equation. 8 plus 5s equals 7s minus 2. Substitute 5. 8 plus 25. 7 times 5. 35 minus 2. We have 8 plus 25, 33, equals 35 minus 2, 33. They're equal, so we know that that is correct. Solve 9f minus 6 equals 3f plus 7. We do the same thing as before. We first subtract 3f from both sides. So we have 9f minus 3f minus 6 equals 3f minus 3f plus 7. 9f minus 3f, 6f minus 6 equals 7. These 3f's cancel out. Now we add 6 to both sides, so we have 6f by itself. Plus 6 to that side, and 7 plus 6. 6f minus 6 plus 6 becomes 6f. 7 plus 6 is 13. Now we divide both sides by 6 to find f. 6f divided by 6 is f. 13 divided by 6 is 2 1/6. The answer is 2 1/6. One third times 18 plus 12q equals 6 2q minus 7. First thing we do, use the distributive property. 6 plus 4q equals 12q minus 42. 6 plus 4q minus 12q equals 12q minus 42 minus 12q. We subtracted 12q from each side. Now we simplify that, and it is 6 minus 8q equals negative 42. 6 minus 8q minus 6 equals 42 minus 6. Leaving us with negative 8q equals negative 48. Now divide negative 8 from both sides to solve for q. Negative 8q divided by negative 8 is q. Negative 48 divided by negative 8 is positive 6. The answer is positive 6. To check the answer, substitute 6 for q in the original equation. If both sides equal each other, then we know it is correct. 6 3r minus 4 equals 3/8 46r plus 8. The first thing we do is use the distributive property. 6 times 3r minus 4. 6 times 3r is 18r. 6 times 4 is 24. Now 3/8 times 46r is 17, and 1/4 r plus 3/8 times 8 is 3. Now we subtract 17 and 1/4 r from both sides. That leaves us with 3/4 r minus 24 equals 3. Add 24 to both sides. And we have 3/4 r equals 27. Now, when we need to get rid of this 3/4, we divide each side by 4/3. 27 times 4/3 leaves us r equals 36. The first thing we did was distributive property, then subtracted, then added the 24, and then multiplied by the reciprocal of 3/4 to find r by itself. R is 36. To check the answer, plug 36 back into the equation. Solve 8 5c minus 2 equals 10 32 plus 4c. First, we use the distributive property. 8 times 5c, 40c. 8 times negative 2, minus 16. 10 times 32, 320. 10 times 4c, 40c. Now subtract 40c from each side. 40c minus 16 minus 40c equals 320 plus 40c minus 40c. 0c minus 16 equals 320. That's not true. There must be at least one c to represent the variable. This equation has no solution. There must always be a value of c. You cannot have 0c in an equation and find an answer. This equation has no solution. Here's another example when the equation has no solution. First, we're going to use the distributive property. 2 times 4a is 8a, plus 8 times 2 is 16. Now, 8a over 3 times 3 is 8a. 3 times negative 10 minus 30. Now, when we move all of the a's onto the same side, we're going to subtract 8a from both sides. This becomes 0. 8a minus aa also becomes 0a plus 16. You cannot have 0a and find a solution. This equation has no solution. You need to have a value of a to find a solution. Solve for t plus 20 equals 1/5 20t plus 400. Then check your solution. The original equation was 4t plus 20 equals 1/5 20t plus 400. Use the distributive property. 4t plus 80, 4 times 20 is 80, equals 1/5 times 20t, 4t, plus 80, 1/5 times 400. Since the expression on each side of the equation is the same, this equation is an identity. The statement 4t plus 80 equals 4t plus 80 is true for all values of t. 4t plus 80 equals 4t plus 80 is true for all values of t. They are the same, exactly the same. 4t plus 80 equals 4t plus 80. That's different from the last equation where we had 0a plus 16 equals 0a minus 30. Those are not true for all values of a because this side is plus 16, whereas this side is minus 30. It is true for all values of t that 4t plus 80 equals 4t plus 80. Solve 1 over 7 times 21c minus 56 equals 3c minus 8 over 3. First, we use the distributive property. 1/7 times 21 is 3c. 21c divided by 7 is 3c. Minus 56 divided by 7 is 8. Equals 3 times c. 3c minus 3 times negative 8 over 3. The 3's cancel out. Minus 8. Both sides are the exact same. So we know that 3c minus 8 equals 3c minus 8 is true for all values of c. They are the same. Multiple choice test item. Solve 8b plus 1 plus 4 equals 3 2b minus 8 minus 16. Read the test item. You are asked to solve an equation. It wants to know what these sides equal. Solve the test item. You can solve the equation or substitute each value into the equation and see if it makes the equation true. We will solve by substitution. The first, A, substitute 13 for B. A, 13 plus 1 plus 4 equals 3, 2 times 13 minus 8 minus 16. 112 plus 4 equals 54 minus 16? No, 116 does not equal 38. We know that A is not correct. B, substitute negative 13 for B. 8 times negative 13 plus 1 plus 4 is 3. 2 times negative 13 minus 8 minus 16. That becomes negative 96 plus 4 equals negative 34 minus 16. Does negative 92 equal negative 50? No. So we know that B is incorrect. Substitute 26 for B. 8 times 26 plus 1 plus 4 equals 3. 2 times 26 minus 8 minus 16. 216 plus 4 equals 44 minus 16. Does 220 equal 28? No. So we know that C is incorrect. So we know the answer must be D, but we will check the answer anyway. Substitute negative 26 for B. 8 times negative 26 plus 1, negative 200, plus 4, equals 3 times 2 minus negative 26, minus 8, minus 16. Negative 196 equals negative 196. Since the value of negative 26 makes the statement true, the answer is D. Solve 5d minus 12 minus 3 equals 2 minus 4d plus 94 plus 87. You would do this the exact same way we just did it. You can just plug in each of these answers until you find one that makes this side equivalent to the other side. For this answer, it is C, positive 26. 5 times 26 minus 12 minus 3 equals 2 negative 4 times 26 plus 94 plus 87. We have 26 minus 12 is 14 times 5 is 70 minus 3, 67. Now we have negative 4 times 26 plus 94 is negative 10 multiplied by 2 is negative 20 plus 87, 67. Both sides of the equation equal 67 when D is 26. The answer is 67. End of lesson 3.5. Chapter 3-6. Determine whether the ratios 7 over 8 and 49 over 56 form a proportion. Well, 7 over 8 divided by 1 equals 7 over 8. 7 divided by 1 is 7. 8 divided by 1 is 8. 49 divided by 7 is 7. 56 divided by 7 is 8. They equal each other. 7/8 equals 7/8. The ratios are equal, therefore they are a proportion. 7/8 equals 49 over 56. Do the ratios 5 over 6 and 40 over 49 form a proportion? Well, we can do it the same way. 5 over 6 divided by 1 is 5 over 6. Now, 40 over 49. Can we divide 40 or 40 over 49 by anything to get 5 over 6? Well, 40 divided by 6 45, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I'm sorry. 40 divided by 8. 40 divided by 8. That's 40 divided by 8 is 5. 49 divided by 8 does not equal 6. Is not 6. So the ratios do not form a proportion. They are not equal. 40 over 49 cannot equal 5 over 6. Do not form a proportion. Use cross products to determine whether the pair of ratios below forms a proportion. We can also find if something is a proportion by cross multiplying. Multiplying the numerator of the first proportion with the denominator of the second proportion, and if it equals the numerator of the second times the denominator of the first, we know it's a proportion. So here we have 0.25 over 0.6 and 1.25 over 2. So the first thing we do, multiply 0.25 times 2, 0.5, 1.25 times 0.6, 0.75. They do not equal each other, so they are not a proportion. The ratios do not form a proportion. Only if the two equal each other do they form a proportion. Use cross products to determine whether the pair of ratio forms a proportion. 4 over 5, 16 over 20. 4 times 20 is 80. 5 times 16 is 80. The cross products are equal, so since the ratios are equal, they form a proportion. Yes, they do form a proportion. Use cross products to determine whether the products of the ratio below forms a proportion. We cross multiply. 0.5 times 1.17 and 0.45 times 1.3. 0.5 times 1.17 is 0.585, and 0.45 times 1.3 is 0.585. The cross products are equal, therefore they do form a proportion. These two numbers are equal. 0.585 equals 0.585. Therefore, they are equivalent. Use cross products to determine whether the pair ratio below forms a proportion. 5 times 15 and 12 times 6. If they are equivalent, then they form a proportion. 5 times 15 is 75. Does that equal 12 times 6? 12 times 6 is 72. They are not equal. They do not form a proportion. Solve the proportion n over 12 equals 3 over 8. N times 8, 8n, equals 12 times 3. Cross multiplication. 8n equals 36. Divide both sides by 8. N is 4 1/2. Solve the proportion r over 9 equals 7 over 10. Cross multiply. R times 10 equals, what just happened again? Oh my god. Kirk! Damn. I did it again and locked myself out. I'm sorry. I'm incompetent. You know the password?
Yeah.
You're moving up in the world. So much power.
Wait. Start this one, right?
Yeah, I was right there. Thank you. There we go. There we go. There's that handsome devil. Okay. Okay, so again for this we cross multiply. 10 times r equals 9 times 7. 9 times 7 is 63. R times 10 is 10r. 10r equals 63. R equals 6.3. So to solve the proportion, we know that it's 6.3 over 9 equals 7 over 10. The gear on a bicycle is 8 to 5. This means that for every 8 turns of the pedal, the wheel turns 5 times. Suppose the bicycle wheel turns 2,435 times during a trip. How many times would you have to turn the pedals during the trip? Let P represent the number of times needed to crank the pedals. Write a proportion for the problem. Turn of the pedals, 8, is 5 wheel turns. So how many turns of the pedals, P, is 2,435 wheel turns? Use cross multiplication. 8 times 2,435 is 19,480. 5 times P is 5P. Divide each side by 5. P is 3,896. So we know it takes 8 turns of the pedal to make a wheel turn 5 times. Then it would take 1.6 turns of the pedal to make the wheel turn 1 time. So if the wheel turns 2,435 times, then there are 2,435 times 1.6, or 3,896 turns of the pedal. The answer is correct. If the wheel turns 2,435 times, the pedal would have to turn 3,896 times. In a road atlas, the scales for the map of Connecticut is 5 inches equals 41 miles. The scale of the map of Texas is 5 inches is 144 miles. What are the distances in miles represented by 2.5 inches on each map? Well, let D represent the actual distance. Write a proportion. 5 over 41. 5 is the scale, 41 is the actual. 2.5 is the scale, D is the actual. So for Texas, 5 over 144 equals 2.5 over D. Solve for Connecticut. 5D, 5 times D, equals 41 times 2.5. 5D equals 205 divided by 2. Divide each side by 5 to get this D by itself. D equals 205 over 10, or 20.5. E for 2.5 inches is 20.5 miles. For Texas, 5D, 5 times D, equals 144 times 2.5. 5D equals 720 divided by 2. 5D divided by 5 equals 720 over 2 divided by 5. D equals 720 divided by 10, or 72. For every 2.5 inches, it is 72 miles. The actual distance in Connecticut, represented by 2.5 inches, is 20.5 miles. The actual distance in Texas, represented by 2.5 inches, is 72 miles. 2.5 inches is 1/2 of 5 inches. So 2.5 inches represents 1/2 of 41, or 20.5 miles in Connecticut, and 1.5 of 144, or 72 miles in Texas. The answer is correct. The scale on a map of the United States is 1 3/8 inches, equals 750 miles. The distance on the map between Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. is 3 inches and 7/8. What is the distance in miles between the two locations? Use a proportion. If 1 3/8 inches equals 750 miles, then you have 1 3/8 over 750 equals 3 7/8 inches over x. We're trying to find how many actual miles it is. Cross multiply, and you get the distance in miles between Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. is about 2,114. End of lesson 3-6. Yeah, I just finished 3-6, but it closed out and we got it back up, but it doesn't have the thing for me to write.
No, switch presenter.
Okay, so for the second half of that lesson, I just didn't write on it.
No, that's fine.
There
Don't
were
worry.
only like 5 slides.
That's okay. So there's no more slides here, right, for 3-6?
I think no 3-6 is done. There might be a 3. Oh yeah, it goes up through 3 now, and it looks like.
Really?
That's what it looks
Resume. Okay.
Okay. Lesson 3-7. State whether the percent of change is a percent of increase or a percent of decrease. Then find the percent of change. Original 32, new 40. Find the amount of change. Since the new amount is greater than the original, the percent of change is a percent of increase. 40 minus 32 equals 8. Find the percent using the original number 32 as the base. The change was 8. The original amount was 32. Percent changes are over 100%. Whenever we want to find percent, the denominator will be 100. Percent means per 100. So 8 times 100, we're using cross multiplication again, is 800 equals 32R. 800 divided by 32 equals 32R divided by 32. R is 25. So the percent of increase is 25%. State whether the percent of change is a percent of increase or a percent of decrease. Then find the percent of change. The original, 20. New, 4. Find the amount of change first. Since the new amount is less than the original, the percent of change is a decrease. Subtract the original from the new, 16. So we have 16 over 20, the change over the original amount, equals R over 100, 100 being percent. Cross multiply to find R. 16 times 100 is 1600. 20R, 20 times R is 20R. 1600 divided by 20 equals 20R divided by 20. 80 equals R. So the percent of decrease is 80%. State whether the percent of change is a percent of increase or a percent of decrease, then find the percent of change. The original is 20, the new is 18. You immediately know it's a decrease because the new is less than the original. So we first find the change, 20 minus 18. Okay, I'm doing something wrong because I just logged myself out again. It's the pen. I blame the pen always.
Yeah, last time it's gonna be because of him.
It's always the pen.
Yeah.
They shouldn't put this right here. Like, why is that right where your fingers should be? It's bad design. Where is she from?
She from she live in Thailand for 6 years. She half Thai and Italian.
Oh, I was gonna say because her accent. It sounds like I was gonna say Spanish, but Italian makes sense. She has like a little bit of a Spanish Italian accent. I was like, where is that? That's okay. So we know that the original is 20, the new is 18. Subtract those and you get the percent of change is 2. We put 2 over 20, the original, equals x over 100 to find the percent. Cross multiply. 20 times x is 20x equals 100 times 2, the percent of change. That leaves you with 28. 28 is the percent of decrease. I'm gonna need help on this one. State whether the percent of change is a percent of increase or a percent of decrease. Then find the percent of change. The original was 12, the new is 48. The percent of change is an increase of 300%. Because the original is less than the new, you know it's an increase. And so you use cross multiplication again. The percent of change is 48 minus 12, which is 36. 36 over 48 equals x over equals x over 100. Cross multiply and we get the answer is 300%. 300%. I'm sorry. For that would be 36 over 12. The original was 12, not 48. 36 over 12 equals x over 100. That gives you 300%. The percent of change is an increase of 300%. The price of a used bookstore pays to buy a book is $5. The store sells the book for 28% above the price that it pays for the book. What is the selling price of the $5 book? Let S be the selling price of the book. Since 28% is the percent of increase, the amount the used bookstore pays to buy a book is less than the selling price. Therefore, S minus 5 represents the amount of change. So change is S minus 5. Bookstore cost is 5. Percent change, 28 over 100. S minus 5 times 100 equals 5 times 28. Cross multiplication again. 100S minus 500 equals 140. 100S minus 500 plus 500, we're getting rid of the 500 on each side so we can have 100S by itself, equals 640. 100S equals 640, divide each side by 100, S is 6.4. So the selling price of the $5 book is $6.40. It buys it for $5, it sells it for 28% more, $6.40. At one store, the price of a pair of jeans is $26. At another store, the same pair of jeans has a price that is 22% higher. What is the price of jeans at the second store? We're going to do the same calculation that we did before. The price of jeans at the second store will be $31.72. At one store, the price of jeans is $26. At another store, the same pair of jeans has a price that is 22% higher. First, find the change. What is the price of jeans at the second store? $31.72. We have $26. We know that the set price at the second store is 22% higher. What is the price of jeans at the second store? use the same equation we used before. Same equation as used here. S a meal for two at a restaurant costs $32.75. If the sales tax is 5%, what is the total price of the meal? The tax is 5% of the price of the meal. 5% of 32.75 equals 0.05 times 32.75. 5% equals 0.05. So we know that the price of the sales tax is $1.6375. We round 1.6375. We round it right at this 3, and 3 rounds from a 7 up to a 4. So round 16375 to $1.64 and add this to the original price. $32.75 plus $1.64 equals $34.39. The total price of the meal is $34.49. A portable CD player costs $69.99. If the sales tax is 6.75%, what is the total price of the CD player? Multiply 69.99 times 6.75%. 6.75% would be 0.0675. 0.0675 times the original price, 69.99, equals 4.724325. We round that to 4.72. So we know the sales tax is $4.72. We add $4.72 to $69.99, and we get the total is $74.71. First, find what the sales tax, what 6.75% of $69.99 is, then add it to the original amount. Now for discounts. A dog toy is on sale for 20% of the original price. If the original price of the toy is $3.80, what is the discounted price? The discount is 20% of the original price. 20% of $3.80 is 0.20 times 3.80. Remember that 20% is 0.20. That's what a percentage is when it's equivalent to a decimal. 0.20. 0.20 times 3.80 is 0.76. We know that 0.76 is the discount. 0.76 is 20% of $3.80. So now we need to subtract 0.76, that's the discount, from the original price. $3.80 minus 0.76 is $3.04. The discounted price of the dog toy is $3.04. A baseball cap is on sale for 15% of the original price. If the original price of the cap is $19.99, what is the discounted price? First, we multiply 19.99 times 0.15. 0.15 is the decimal version of 15%. So multiply the original price, 19.99, by the percent it's on sale for, 0.15, or 15%. 19.99 times 0.15 is 2.9985. Round that into 3 digits, which would be 3.00. A 15% discount of $19.99 is $3. Now subtract, that is the discount, so subtract that number, 3, from the original price. 19.99 minus 3 is 16.99. So the discounted price of the cap player is 16.99. And that is the last slide. That is the end of lesson 3-7.